If you don't know who I am, I'm going to introduce myself to you right now. I am Leon C., aka Morpheus. The definition of my name, or you could say how and why I am called Morpheus, is for or you could say the next level of human evolution. Whatever that you may think, when you come here, it's going to be different. It's going to be a plethora of odd events. Now, the reason why I say that is because you see the title and it may not fit well for everyone. It may even give you some alarm, where you're worried about why I've chosen such a title. But I will explain it to you. Very simple. It's because it isn't. The definition of life is an individual thing that only you can define for yourself. Whenever there is a debate about religion, because we're getting ready to go into it, and there's a reason why I've chose that title, is because it's amazing on a constant basis that there will be a complete misunderstanding by those who are sensitive, are captured in a certain expectation of their environment, meaning they don't mind being attached to the matrix. So this isn't for you. I'm not talking to you. My lessons are for those who have a different reality than what you have. This is a class for those who are breaking away from their frailty of thought and programming. So it's not going to be for everyone. If it's not for you, then exit stage right. Okay, this application isn't extended to you. You do not have to apply yourself to my class. And for those who are curious, it'd be best for you to sit, listen, and learn first, before you use your cognitive dissonance and your programming to argue a point which will become eventually irrelevant, pointless. Because in this, it's more than just experience. It's about using your instincts and your awareness and your third eye that a lot of you simply do not have, apparently. So therefore, you just may struggle, but I will help you through this. This is not about beating on anyone's chest. This isn't a challenge about who's the smartest, what is the best religion, and what religion is wrong or right. Because I will tell you this, that there is nothing wrong with having a good perspective, whether it may be true or untrue. It is a hopeful, it is a positive, and it is a good function to get into. Yes, I just said it. Morpheus just said it. Church is not evil by its basic construct. I am all about bringing people together to be positive, to affect the community in a positive way, to help families, to have fundraisers every now and then, to have pantry giveaways, or to help those in need, or to even preach and speak to those who may be in the prison cells, or to give hope to the hopeless. All right? So I'm not saying completely clean your slate, because it's not for everyone. You understand? Listen, it's for those who don't need that. This is for those who are able to stand up on their own 2 feet. This is the adult level of your spiritual experience. Whereas you understand the good that religion does for the community, but you understand the details and the schematics of its very system, which may pertain or try to indoctrinate your soul. So you are at a stage in your life where you are seeking evolution, that you are seeking the higher truth, that you are not and never will be interested in being bound by lackadaisical thinking. Now bear with me, Neo. Bear with me for a moment. I'm going to read something for you, and I'm going to break it down with the red pill. I'm going to give you a magnifying glass. Now, if you followed my other lessons, that is my other audios, you have a clear understanding of how you yourself can break this down. You have the tools I have given you already to decipher what I'm going to read for you. But for those who are new to this class, I have to do my just diligence to teach you and to show you. Now I'm going to click on several things here, so there may be a few pauses in between while I'm trying to get and pull up these messages for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and read it best as I can. If I bore you, then I don't apologize, because you're not listening to how they have written this down. But it's amazing how words is a very powerful thing. It's amazing how they'll put something on your frontline news, on your smartphone, on your computers, and you read it and don't think about it. And it's just a passing phase. But when you learn how to break things down with your red pill, with a third eye, with your instincts, you can't help but see it as laughable. So I'm going to humor you in the moment here. And for some of you, you may not be humored. But yes, we're going to go in on religion. Yes, we are. It says here, apt Bible passage at Catholic Mass coincides with earthquake on ABC News by the Associated Press. Of course. A Catholic church in North Carolina, which had a portion of 1 Kings for the Bible for its reading during an early Sunday morning mass, found the verse unusually timely. Unusually timing. I use the word 1 Kings because that's what they would usually say, but it says number 1 Kings for the Bible in their reading. Now I'm going to go to the second page. Now, I can't read every last one of it, but I'm going to read the majority of it, the fulfillment of it, and not leave anything out. The rest of it is just jargon and continual babble to keep you entertained. Next it goes on is Charlotte, NC. The scripture quite literally came to life for several Catholic churches in North Carolina as a rare earthquake rattled portions of the state over the weekend. According to a news release from the, I don't know how to pronounce that, Diocese, I don't want to pronounce it wrong, of, is that Charlotte or Charlotte? I don't care. Father Richard Sutter of St. Gabriel's Catholic Church said the lecture in the Sunday service had just reached the 9th chapter of Kings. It's covered right now, but I'm pretty sure it will be 1 Kings. A Bible passage referring, going to the next page. referring to the prophet Elijah, which said, after the wind there was an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. It was that parishioners felt the 5.1 magnitude earthquake entered near Sparta, the most powerful to hit the state in more than 100 years. Monitors said the 5.1 magnitude temblor struck at 8:07 a.m. following a much smaller earthquake several hours earlier. There were no reports of serious injuries, but some minor structural damage was reported in Sparta, as well as cracks in road. Images in, can't see that word, I'm just going to say social media, also showed items knocked off grocery store shelves. And here's the last page that I was able to snapshot for you. The Charlotte Observer reported that while he didn't feel it himself, Sutter said parishioners came up to him as soon as the service ended. He said the moment can be a lesson for the times. And when there's fear from an earthquake, when there's fear from a storm, when there's fear from a pandemic and uncertainty, you have to let the Lord speak to us the truth, he said. Let's keep our eyes on Jester the crest and not the waves or even earthquakes we cannot control. Now, I cut it off right there because they continue to talk about what they were talking about in their personal feelings and ideas, and it goes on to be out of the lesson of what I'm going to bridge to you today. So give me a moment. I'm going to make an adjustment because I'm going to get myself prepared for you, because this lesson is important. If you have not been able to break it down with your metaphysical mind and your third eye right now, then listen up and walk with me. First question that you would have on your mind is, you would think that it's positive to focus on something that's positive, correct? In their eyes being Jester the crest, and in their mind the words of the Lord, okay, and ignore, as he said, the basically nature, basically the natural order of the earth, the catastrophe that's happening on the planet, okay, with all the changes, earthquakes, so forth, so on, and pandemics. Okay, list goes on. Okay, and to just concentrate on that, on basically that positive idea, that overly praised, non-existent deity. Okay, I know I probably gut punched some of you, but get over it. You decide to listen to this class. You have no right, no obligation to yourself to argue at this point, because you decide to keep listening. You got other channels that you can follow. Don't follow me. Okay? That's your responsibility. If you can't handle it, go back to lesson 1 and follow the lesson plan. Then you'll understand why I talk the way that I talk. Now listen up carefully. The idea is it's a positive thing. Yes. When things are chaotic, be positive. When life seems like it's becoming a crumbling hill on the wayside, it is best to focus forward so you don't get avalanched. You won't get caught up in the avalanche of the boulders and the rocks of your hard times. That's considerable. But if you have followed my lesson, you will understand the very fact that this is a problem more than it is a healing, because you are talking about a people who chooses willingly to ignore nature, willingly to ignore their surroundings, willingly to hold on to a milk bottle without milk on the inside. Just put it, you know how you put a bottle in a baby's mouth and there's no milk in it, just the fact that there is a rubber nipple there. okay, will satisfy that baby for at least 5-10 minutes before it realizes that nothing's coming out of that milk bottle. And then what the pastors or your religion would do is replace that bottle with another bottle, so you'll think that there's some milk in there as well. So you sucking on it and you get nothing. Then they give you another bottle and it's the same thing. So eventually what they'll start doing with sugar-coated words and jokes that the pastors and ministers give you, okay, and try to relate to you with their outside world and experiences, they'll give you just a little bit of something in the bottle and a little bit of drops of truth. So therefore now you begin to suck on something that has a little sense to it, which causes you to become even more content, which causes you to become even more satisfied with the programming and the indoctrination, because now you're sucking on something, okay, but that still is not going to give you fulfillment. And then you may have even more indoctrinations and programming that is now currently popping up around your country, because people are becoming wiser, because there are neos everywhere, just about. Okay, so they have to give you something of more substance when you are sitting down in the pew, or even now your parking lot churches, or if you are doing the 6 feet distance between the person, it's still the same thing. Now you have something in the bottle. You have, let's just say, watered down nutrition. All right, which it isn't genuine milk from a mother, and which you should have for DNA traces. I'm not going to get to that in this audio log. Okay, you have to follow me. You have to subscribe, and I will fulfill you with that. Okay, when you do not have a connection with the mother's DNA, or her nutritional pattern for your phylum, okay, and you put Similac there, you put other types of Enfamil there, no matter what type of nutrition you add into this Enfamil, it's nothing compared to the DNA of the mother who have created that child. When you disconnect from that mother, okay, you're disconnected from your instincts. You're disconnected from your ultimate power. You're no longer Superman. You're just a regular Clark Kent that can never fly, even if you try. And in order for you to fly, now you are a grown adult, which is dependent on simulation, on fake food. You're depending on genetically modified food. You're depending on remaining disconnected from your mother. All right, I'm going to leave it right there, and let's go further in this discussion. So in the bottles that you're given in your religion is watered down nutrition, which isn't real. Just made up stuff. And so you think you're getting something. You're constantly drinking on it like watered down wine, watered down whiskey, and you aren't never able to reach that tipsy point. You're not ever ready or able. Well, you're ready, but you're not able to reach that high point where you feel ultimately good. Because you got to drink more. And while you're drinking more that's going to make you sicker, fatter, lazier than it is going directly to the point where you would drink a 40% alcohol content, okay, in a shot glass, and you will get immediate results. All right. And you go home happy versus sitting there drinking, which is doing more harm to you than it is good, which is your indoctrinated religion. Okay, so therefore you sit there and think you're getting something, and you're practically getting nothing. But however, moving forward, and not to stay on that subject, okay, the ignorance of nature is a major problem all across your country, where you do not comprehend. And I will tell you this. For some of you who have purchased my book called 2020 America Rise or Fall Hard, you are well ahead of the subject by now. By now, you pretty much know what's going on. You are good. You are the graduates of this class, whereas you can teach these students who have a hard time understanding. Okay, so I am not going to give you any spoilers, and I'm going to try not to give you any spoilers in this audio. But I will tell you this, okay? The fact that your indoctrination or your churches preach you to sleep and say, focus on this man-created idea and disconnect yourself from... See, here's the thing, and this is what made me laugh about it. If your car is making a loud noise when you're going down the highway. Do you keep driving, or are you going to wonder what that noise is and don't care about it? Your car gives you warning signals on your tachometer, on your heads up display. Your car is telling you something is wrong. You have oil signals going off. You have the engine light blinking off. Your steering wheel is shaking very badly. You hear a loud screech in your doghouse where your engine is formed, or where your engine is based, sitting, for some of you nerds. You realize that your stick shift or your automatic shifter, okay, isn't working properly. You try to put it in drive. It will take a while before the car jolts forward to indicate that it's in drive. So apparently, well, you may not understand, but you have a slipping transmission. And you press on the gas pedal, the car goes nowhere, but it's lit up as in D, okay, and it hasn't quite caught up to the gears yet. If your car is puffing out, emanating smoke in your tail end while you are driving 55 miles per hour down the highway, are you going to keep driving? Or are you going to stop and try to figure out where this smoke is coming from? Or is it going to be a possible fire? If you see antifreeze pouring in to your cabin, or some may call it cockpit of your car where you're sitting, and it's a pool of green antifreeze on your shoes, are you going to keep riding, driving, and praying about it? Or are you going to stop and figure out what the problem is? Okay, the average person is going to stop and try to figure out what the problem is, because clearly it's an emergency. Clearly there's a problem in your world, or on your day, or in the situation. Clearly, it's just not going to happen for no reason. They got a classic thing that they say in the church that makes you stupid, or that takes you from your thinking. And this expression says, all things happen for a reason. I'm just going to let it be, because all things happen for a reason. Well, why don't you get out of the car and figure out what the reason is? Okay, where you don't have to say all things happen for a reason. Figure out what the reason is. Oftentimes, things happen because you're not figuring out the reason. And perhaps you can prevent it from happening if you figure it out. This is kind of funny. There was this comedian many years ago, and they made a cartoon. It is kind of funny. Now it comes to my mind. And what they did was they made a herd of cow. It was cow, like in this pasture, right? And they wanted to depict, and they made a joke out of how it probably was in the old days to be able to slaughter a cow, to get meat from it, and the other cows are witnessing it, okay? And they made this one cow that was supposed to be pious, very religious, and very, I'm going to pray and I'm going to sit right here with my legs crossed and be a good stewardess of indoctrination. Okay. And while that cow is standing there with its eyes closed and its hands clasped together, praying to the air, to Casper the ghost, right? He hears every now and then, he will hear a cow get whacked off. In the past, you hear in the background, you hear one cow get lopped off. Oh, and he'll still stand there. He's sitting there. Okay, I'm just gonna pray. I'm gonna pray this away. I'm gonna pray that I'm going to survive this situation. It may be them, but I'm gonna. And then several others get clapped off. Oh. He's a little nervous, but he's still going by the programming. His teaching tells him to sit still and wait on the Lord. So, okay, I'm gonna sit here and wait on the Lord. While I'm sitting here waiting on the Lord, he'll hear something else. Psst. Oh no! Oh no! until the very day comes, he's the last cow on the field of other cows that are prepared to leave. Now they got a different batch now, because they have to keep the circulation. Agent Smith have to keep processing you. Okay, so it's his turn now, and now he sits there and he's on the butcher table, right, or however they used to do it, and it's game over. And then what the cow will say is, well, because it was meant to be, because those who have come before me have left that same way. So I suppose it was just natural, and maybe it's just the order of God, or it's the order of my belief system. And then the cow gets whacked off and it's done. You know, he's finished, and now you have a whole batch of other herded cows in that same pasture to eat grass, get fat, get injected with steroids, and start all over again. And in the mix, you're going to have one of the cows who's going to sit and look and be like, oh, well, I don't care, while it's chewing on grass. Okay? Amazing. I did a little project for myself and on myself, Neo. I've told you that I was connected to the Matrix, and I was there. Of course, I'm here teaching you how to get out of it. And my projects almost nearly pushed me over the edge. My projects made me the one who had to deal with what I do not want you to deal with cognitive dissonance, to where I was two different people. I was fighting the program to the point where I was confused, because the church would tell me one thing. That's the church of all kinds. Don't think you are absent from this discussion. Church as in religion. All right. And I'm fighting my physical self at the same time. I'm fighting nature, because nature will contradict indoctrination. Nature contradicts indoctrination and programming. It will contradict it. But what your religion would do is make you look in the stars while everything is happening down here on physical earth that you are supposed to be responsible for. But you think you are responsible to create an invincible spaceship to get on the Jupiter of senselessness. Okay? See, reality hits home so strong. It's like this, that we are so complicatedly ignorant, where things that are simple, we don't understand it. It's amazing. Like this, for example. Let me give you something that a lot of you can relate to. Okay? Right now, as I am speaking, I would love to have $37 million. I would love to have it. Because you know what I would do with it? First of all, it will be definitely towards you. It will be definitely towards children. I will definitely apply myself to the society. I won't let you know it's me, just for safety reasons, of course. You won't see my signature anywhere, but I will be behind the curtains making sure that you are fed. I will make sure that your children will be well. You understand? You don't have to pray for it. You don't need to pray for it. Come find me, or come find my program, and I will provide what you need. Simple as that. I don't care what color you are, what you came from, or what you need the money for. Okay? I'm going to apply myself to the point where I understand that you are going to be well in your future. Okay? Now, here's the thing. It's amazing how, listen, when I think like that, it's amazing how when that is a goal, that is a right now thing, okay? No matter how hard our work, it's going to be difficult, and it's difficult to come up with that type of money. Okay, sometimes you do have to have the certain connection. You got to have a certain knowledge. I am not a genius to be able to figure that all out. Okay, and I have had very bad, unfortunate situations. Okay, but as much of a miracle it will be for most of you, and a grandeur and an awesome event to happen. Okay, it's amazing how when the thought comes, or that sort of potential that I could have, where it doesn't happen instantly. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's not a, what is it that they had on the letter I just wrote to you? Unusually timely. Amazing, right? Amazing. Amazing. It's not usually timely when there's still people suffering around me and struggling in an everyday life as I am being a supporter and your friend, so forth, so on. You're Neo. You're Morpheus. Let's continue with something else that some of you can relate to as well.